Hey friends, in today's video I'm going to update you on my progress for learning controller and getting better at controller. I'm going to answer all those questions, but first of all, what am I doing? I am playing Rumble to get spooky pages so that I can do the Halloween event to then get the Macabre sniper, since I think the Macabre is the best sniper in the game. And specifically, I want one with more handling, with snapshot, maybe with swashbuckler, high impact reserves. All the above. Opening shot too. Even better than the one that Abe Levante gives you for free. So the first question someone asks when I say I'm playing controller is, well, why? You're already decent at M&K. Why would you play controller? Or they have a different reaction of, you're finally playing the broken input device. Enjoy your free wins. It's either perspective. I'm on team, I think use whatever input device is the best for the job. And here's the big piece of information people gloss over. There is no way to play mouse and keyboard on console besides using Zim or third-party software that is in a gray area that I'm not really comfortable doing in Destiny 2 because it's not a competitive game. If there was money on the line and the in-person tourneys did not specify otherwise, then everybody would just show up with Zim, because that is the best input device and it should be bannable. That is not the discussion for today's video. Today's discussion is most people play on controller on console, like 99.9% of them, so I'm going to be one of them. And I need to get better at controller to be able to do cool stuff for you as a content creator. And this has been my journey. I started on 20 cents because I wanted to promote a lighter touch. I wanted to have a control scheme that let me be an aggressive shotgunner playing something like Revenant Hunter to absolutely break ankles. The control scheme was really complex, and it did get results. But I'm going to describe something as riding the aim assist versus actually aiming. Riding the aim assist is putting your crosshair in the general direction, putting a little bit of down tension, moving around, and letting aim assist take the wheel. It's just going to hit crits anyway. Deliberately aiming is for all of the other situations in the game. That is when you're trying to place a grenade on a wall on a specific angle. That's when a hunter hits a hunter dodge and you have to hit them anyway. That's when a titan zigzags through the air with a behemoth melee or a shoulder charge, and you gotta hit him in the face anyway. That is when deliberate actual aim matters. And that is why I dropped my sensitivity from 20 to 11. And I know that there's the aim down sights modifier where a lot of players who might play on 20 might drop it down to like a 0.6 or a 0.7 and they're doing just fine with that. That's great. I still want a little bit more deliberate aim, a little bit more precision when I play controller. So the best compromise I have for being fast but also being accurate and precise is 11 sensitivity with a 0.7 in-game. That to me feels incredible. The compromise I have to make is when I'm shotgunning, sometimes I have to hip fire more than aim down sights, because if I stay aim down sights the entire time, I will not be able to do a 180-degree turn in a reasonable amount of time to get the target. So that's where I landed. I feel like I can snipe on it decently. I can definitely outdo other people with a hand cannon, deal with multiple targets. I can place grenades exactly where I want on the wall, except in the rare situation where like an enemy runs past as I'm setting up the nade and aim assist drags the grenade off where I want it to be. Just little basic controller grievances that I never get on M&K. And I do gotta say, playing M&K and controller back to back shows an absolute difference. Like you see in the background, I'm using my PvE loadout. This is what I use in the Haunted Lost sectors. Sunshot to work on my aim, clears a whole group of ads in one single bullet. Heritage to delete the mask ones or whatever they're called, the pumpkin heads. And then a sword to get around the arena and get tags on the pumpkin head so I can get progress for the spectral pages, right? I just load this up in Rumble. I wear a Halloween mask, let the other Rumble players know I'm not really trying to win the match. I'm just trying to get as many duels in as possible so I can work on my aim. And whatever happens, happens. That's the unwritten message I want to send to the players on the other side. Unfortunately, that message wasn't well received because I would still see people using illegal Rumble loadouts. I could talk about that in another video, but it's pretty much exactly what you think. Kill Clip SMGs, Peacekeepers, Terrible, Glaive, Rain of Fire of X-Mytho class, Hunter, Gear Falcon, Rat King, all the above. I will make a video in the future explicitly breaking down what I think are the best Rumble loadouts and how it's very difficult to lose in Rumble if you are the only one in the lobby using them. So people would be using this stuff, and I would somehow take a game off of them on controller with Sunshot. Other times, people bested me and they started bagging and taunting, and that's where I was like, not again. I'm switching to M&K. And I'm kind of sad I did, because that game I went 22-1 with the same PvE loadout, just simply changing my input device. And that discouraged me a lot, but I thought about it and said, you know what? I'm not rage switching to M&K anymore. It's not good for controller practice. I need to stick through controller thick and thin, or I am not going to make reasonably fast progress. And the last day, I have stuck to only controller no matter what, and it has absolutely paid off. I tried to unblock that player in the background. I did not realize I had to hit the X button, but I eventually sorted it out. I just want you to know that. A lot of people ask why block. It's just an identifier. It can be a good or bad thing. A lot of times it's kind of a bad thing. Like, I noticed this player was really laggy, and 400 games later, I see the same block symbol, and then I get quad meleeed and they rubber band all over the place, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Then I leave the lobby and search for a new one, because why would I want to subject myself to a laggy-ass match? And then we continue. Other times it could be something as simple as I just think they're a really good player. So I see the block symbol and I search every other name in the lobby. The other 4 players have like double primary. Then I look at the block symbol and they're on a legal Rumble loadout, and I'm like, yep, they won this match. This isn't even worth participating in. Let's find another one. A lot of the time I overestimate the block symbol, and then I match them in trials and they don't even put up any fight whatsoever. So I just unblock them. I was like, yeah, maybe I was a little too trigger happy on that one. Ultimately, block just lets you know to check out that player or take the match more seriously. Don't read too much into it. It ain't that serious. This is a controller video, though. So you see in the background, I am sniping with controller. You're going to see a lot of shots that I have no business taking, but I go for it anyway just to get the practice in. I'm going to talk about the specific bind changes I made since the last video. You might have noticed I played on 20 cents with some spider-ass binds. They're pretty crazy, but they do allow you to do everything that you can do on M&K on controller, albeit that you have to play a 4-paddle controller and also claw at the same time. That to me is being a little too extra to be consistently good, so I dropped that, dropped the sensitivity, and now have to make some very slight compromises that I think are worth it for overall consistency. Here's what I do. Right stick click is my hunter dodge. I have 4 paddles. On my paddle is reload, crouch, jump, and weapon swap. I use the use key, aka my revive button, on my reload button. And if I want to cancel the reload, I can hit like a sprint forward or something on the same time. I can hit the weapon swap button twice, that type of thing. It will allow me to get the revive while also being able to put damage in and move my character around. The reload button has to be on the paddle because of bow canceling, where you pull the string back and cancel the bow so you can keep the perfect draw on all the time. I am going to use bow on controller, so that is worth considering. The crouch button is simple. You want to be able to teabag strafe or just pop your crouch over and over again to get the hardest head glitch possible. What else? The weapon swap is so that I can shoot somebody in the body with the sniper rifle and get the fastest cleanup possible. I think that's it. So what did I do with air dive? Air dive, aka shatter dive, is a double click on the dodge button, which doesn't come up that often. I wish there was a better place to put this button, but for me, that's the best. In PvE, I do a double tap of the left trigger to do my finisher. Makes a lot of sense. I could go crazy on PC and use the Steam Rebind to change like the Xbox guide button or the select and start button to change to something in game, and I could claw again. But I'm just not going to be that extra, and it's not really possible on console. so I'm not going to worry about that. The second most complex class behind Revenant is Dawnblade. I switch my Hunter Dodge, which is the right stick, to be Air Move, which is Icarus Dash. That's really it, and I think Titan, same thing, where it has Thruster. Let's recap why Revenant is so difficult to play on controller for the M and K binds. You have an ability melee shuriken that's really good. You want to use the neutral melee for shotgunning. You need your air move, Shatter Dive, to be accessible, and you also need your Hunter Dodge to be accessible. There's not really a controller bind that lets you do all of that, so you have to make a compromise somewhere. The second hardest is Dawnblade, but I'm going to be real, if you use healing grenades anyway, you don't really have to make a compromise with Dawnblade. But if you want to play the Scorch human missile version of Dawnblade, then you absolutely do need some mouse and keyboard binds, and I've made some compromises like you hear in this video. The next most difficult will maybe be Thruster Titan, and even then, I don't think it's really that bad. For the simple classes, like let's say Shadebinder, very simple keybinds. Since I don't use a Hunter Dodge or an air move on Shadebinder, I move the ability melee to the right stick. And those classes feel so good to play on these controller binds. So now I want to answer that question of why would you even pick up controller in the first place, and why would you want to play in the console population? In my opinion, it's a completely different ecosystem because everyone is forced to play the same input device, aka controller. Things are a little bit slower. Things don't get quite as wild at Caillou's house. Check the clip on screen right now. So you see in big bold letters that controller is not aim assisted for Hunter Dodge. Look at the jank movement in the background. On M&K, I hit this 9 times out of 10. I had multiple opportunities to fully kill this Hunter, and if the other player did not intervene, I feel like I even kill him there on controller right now. That's not the important part though. The important part is when I see a Hunter Dodge on controller, I have to recognize that my sensitivity is different than if they were not dodging, and to make the adjustment instantly. And that is really difficult to do if you're not a day in, day out controller player. There are so many subtle, intuitive things that you do with a controller based on the distance that you are with your gun and how aim assisted the gun is, your ADS scaler, your overall sensitivity, the stick settings if you do that on the Elite controller. I should report that I changed to a default stick because I didn't like any of the options that the Elite has. On 20, I did like the delay option, but on 11, I just go default. It's not needed. Long story short is that I don't really like playing controller. The way I described it and conveyed it to my Twitch chat is it feels like my brain is coaching a really bad Destiny player. And it's trying to tell them what the right thing to do is. It's like, all right, dude, you want to pre-aim your crosshair at that wall slightly a little bit out in case they slide. And so when that happens, you want to put a shot in. If you see a yellow number, commit to the duel. If anything else, Icarus dash backward, create some space, put a nade between you and the opponent, and get ready for them to do a desperation move. Oh no, you missed the grenade too? Oh, just switch to the shotgun. Desperation. Just go for a melee now. That's what my brain's doing. And I am not good enough at controller to make plan A even slightly reasonable. And it's just such a shitty feeling. There are so many cool opportunities that pop up in PvP. Things that spur of the moment I know are the best option, and I'm just not fast or precise enough to do it. That's why I don't like controller. Now, controller ain't all bad though. If you're using like an automatic weapon and put some slight down tension and are moving around with your character, you can absolutely hit an entire yellow number beam without that much effort, and it makes weapons like that extremely consistent. And you can start reevaluating your game plan around that newfound consistency. Because even on my best days on M&K, I'm not hitting entire magazines of auto rifle yellow numbers. It's just not happening. At the end of the day, on M&K, you have to predict their strafe, and if not, you lose a yellow number. On controller, sometimes at the right distance, right situation, you don't have to predict shit. And that is why controller is strong. And that is why I want to learn controller. To me, it opens up extra loadouts that aren't as consistent on mouse and keyboard. Before the 30% sidearm change, sidearms were virtually a controller exclusive weapon, and I still think that they're the better option. If you're going to use a sidearm, you might as well play controller. So if I'm adept at both input devices, I get to just choose the best input device for the loadout, and I think that's badass. Obviously, there's like last word that comes to mind, but I put so much work into using it on mouse and keyboard that I might as well just continue. Same with Crimson. There are some guns where I know that the better option is on controller, but I just get this raw satisfaction for succeeding on them with M&K anyway that I'm realistically not going to use it on controller. I think I've said everything I want to say in the video. As you can see, this background footage has been entirely controller today. Just a significant improvement from the last controller video. Had a long stream, my voice is a little bit dead, but I wanted to put this video out because I got so many good questions in Twitch chat today. So if you see me in the wild, in your Rumble match, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Rumble. I'm mad at this terrible game balance. I'm mad at the lack of ranked playlist. I'm mad at no SBMM and Rumble and us having 4 trash cans to farm and out-farm each other. It's not a good experience. So, really, I'm just frustrated that I suck at controller, and a player on like an illegal loadout or practicing Lorentz for trials or whatever, I just need to say something cathartic, and sometimes it's like, man, I hate Lorentz users. I don't hate the person. I hate Lorentz. I'm not really talking to anyone specific here, just trying to preemptively say that I get frustrated when I suck at controller, and I don't mean to take it out on other people despite saying cathartic comments being very, very good for my mental health. Just leave it in the game. Past that, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay here. Thanks everybody for hearing me out. Hope you learned something valuable in this one, and I hope you're always trying to improve no matter what input device, except for Zim. We don't like Zim users.